Let me introduce you to David Newman. I'm showing you his LinkedIn profile. One thing is I can read this whole like a profile. You don't want me to do it. Why not you go ahead and find him on LinkedIn and add him as a connection so that way you can start learning just like I started learning from him. Welcome to our show.
Here, thank you again for inviting me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. How do you really answer? I know you have a 17 answer to this question. How much do you charge?
The three answers that you don't want to give. You don't want to give some random answer. For example, a lot of people, a lot of salespeople and marketing people and a lot of entrepreneurs, they say, well, on average, it costs X. And the average, no one cares about the average. They say, hey, how much is this going to cost for me, for my situation, for what I want to fix, for what I want to solve, for what I want to buy? So don't quote some random number. Don't quote a range. Don't quote the average. Don't quote any of that. Number two is don't act surprised or don't be caught off guard by that question. Expect the question to come at the wrong time. Expect the question to come too early. Expect the question to come at an awkward moment during that conversation, and then be prepared for it. And then the third thing not to do is don't get defensive. Don't start to defend your price or say, well, it's $17,000, but that's because, or it's $5,000, but I can work with you, which means you've got no pricing integrity, and that you're willing to negotiate down to zero, and then that gets the prospect thinking, how low can we go? So just don't do those three things. Reframe the question as a positive, and then we'll go through all the specific answers that some of them are funny, and some of them are very relevant, and some of them get the prospect focused back on where they should be focused, which is on solving their problem. Someone says, hey, David, how much is it? And I've had a little bit of time now to understand who they are, what they need, what they want, what they're up against. If I have enough information, I say, well, based on what we've talked about so far, and again, that's important because there may be a lot more information that I need to come up with a real price, but based on what we talked about so far, a project like what we've been talking about ranges from X to Y, somewhere between $10,000 and $50,000, right? So, and here's the magic of this phrase: sometimes a little more, not usually less. Is that what you were looking to invest? Is that what you were expecting to invest? So this does a couple of things, all in one little sentence here, 2 or 3 little sentences in one phrase. Number one, it sets those big anchors of it's somewhere between here, somewhere between there. Now, sometimes when folks hear a range, and if I say it's somewhere between 10 and 50, they're very optimistic. They have their optimistic prospect ears on, and they hear $10,000. I said, no, I didn't say it was $10,000. I said it was somewhere between $10,000 and $50,000. That's why I say not sometimes a little more, right? More than 50, not usually less. Not usually less. So again, if you have $500 and my Super Deluxe websites, if I'm selling websites, my Super Deluxe website is $10,000. And if I say, listen, it's somewhere between $10,000 and $50,000, if you're building the next Amazon.com, by the way, it's not going to be $10,000. It's going to be more than that, right? If I say that little magic phrase, sometimes a little more, not usually less, is that what you were expecting to invest? That makes it sound reasonable. That makes it sound like, everyone is expecting to make an investment in this range. You wouldn't try and buy a Ferrari for $10,000 either. And you know that if someone charges you $100,000 for a VW Bug, that you're overpaying. So we all have an expectation of what we'll need to invest. Now, some prospects, their expectation is totally off base, like it's wild and crazy, not even in the ballpark. Other prospects, they say, well, it was what I was expecting to invest. I'm not necessarily happy about it, but that number makes sense. So it's, again, a way to qualify, disqualify, and set the context for the real part of the conversation, which is what are they trying to accomplish and where are they in that range.
So you're still watching this?
that really mean you like the answer given by David Newman. And that was just one of the answers. You just got it. And there are 16 more answers to that question. You remember the question? How much do you charge? Imagine that having a 17 possible answers to that single question when you get from your prospective buyer or customer or client, whatever you call it. I have recorded a 1-hour interview one-to-one with him, and I want to give you all. What you have to do is take your cell phone out. Here's how my cell phone look like. It's an old iPhone, and you don't have to have an iPhone. You can be Android phone or even an old-fashioned simple phone which can send text, and which I'm aware of worldwide. Everybody can send a text from the cell phones. What you have to do is take that cell phone out and send a text message to this number. You see there's a number called 404-418-6019. Again, 404-418-6019. When you send a message, in a message put a word charge. CHARGE. You see it here. I'm showing you everything. In case for some reason where I'm pointing my fingers and you don't see it, let me show you the old-fashioned way. You see this? Text charge to 404-418-6019. If you are texting from outside of US or Canada, you may have to do a +1 on the front, or maybe 011, whatever is your country, from your country, how you make a call to US. You are not calling, you are going to text it. +1 404-418-6019. When you are texting to this number, the word charge, you are giving me a permission to call you or text you, myself, my team, or my system. Thank you so much. I look forward to connecting with you soon.